Hello everybody, welcome to 1500 Assignment 3, Part C. In this video I'm going to show you how to use a scale specifically for the task of sizing out your model. So ideally you'd want to use your scale and consider the dimensionality of your model before getting started, as we only have, two pieces of paper and scrap foam core. So you want to think about the sizing of that 1/4 inch and approximately how big it'll be, so you don't run out of material or perhaps make your model way too small and have a ton of extra material. So here's how to go about thinking of that. So what you see here is an architectural scale. This is a small one. You probably have more of a 12-inch one that's white and plastic. On each side, there are numbers here. So those represent the scale that you are going to be using. So for this assignment, we're using 1/4 inch, which is this 1/4. It is on the other side of the 1/8, which is 1/8 inch. So you might notice that the 1/8 is a smaller size than the 1/4 in its actual text on the scale. And that is because for space purposes, we are using, the scale uses two measurements along the same axes. So that is probably the most confusing part about learning how to use a scale. So for the 1/4 inch, which is the larger sized numbers, you are going to read the larger size numbers and then do not pay attention to the smaller ones. So 1/4 inch, we start at 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then so it's going, every 2 feet. So that would be 1, that would be 3, 5, etc. And so what does this mean? So when you get to this 2 mark on the 1/4 inch scale, that essentially means that you are 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet. So in building the model, you could hold your scale up like this, and then of course make sure to realize that your scale might actually go past the 0 mark, as this one does. So you can think about that in terms of measuring, or you can, lift your model off to meet the 0. We don't have to be very technical here. The only requirement is to create your model in 1/4 inch scale. So everybody's models will be on the same scale as one another, and then we can really test the impact of light and shadows and compare them, across all the models. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to set this scale up like this. We'll just say it starts 0 here. And as you can see, let's see, it ends right about there. That's lining up with that 20. If you can see that 20 right there. So that means this structure is a scale model for 20 feet. The real life version of this would be 20 feet tall. And so that's not bad, because our assignment is asking you to go past just the creation of the structure itself, but to think about the space in human scale inside. So now that we know it's 20 feet, something I like to do is figure out the size that a person would be. And I always just, you can use a toothpick, you can use scraps, whatever will help you. So a person is usually, between 5 and 6 feet tall. And as you can see, this little scrap is coming in. If we start at the 0, it looks much taller than it is on camera. It's coming in about 6 feet. It's curved, so it's coming in about 6 feet. So we'll just, say this is the size of a person. This would be the size of a person experiencing this space. You can use anything, to help you get the scale correctly. And so we will go over again in class how to read the scale. And if you don't have a scale at home, I know if you're in 1490, it was required, but if you are not in 1490 and you don't have a scale, you can still do this. So what it is, you'll notice that this 20 feet, if you look at the size, so this whole scale is 6 inches. And now we're looking at 20 feet, which is about an inch lower than the scale. So it's actually about 5 inches in real, 5 inches tall if we were to measure it literally. So if we're asking for 1/4 inch, you would take, in your head, you say, oh, I want to make a structure that's 20 feet. How big will that be in 1/4 inch scale? So you will divide 20 feet by 4, and that will give you the inches of the size of the model. We are working in, a standard scale, but at a small scale. This is really small. We're not going bigger than this right now. So it is definitely manageable, and we can go through this again because I know this is your first time doing this. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then you can, hold this up to different parts if you want to measure different parts to get an understanding of how big some of your cuts or folds are. That's kind of cool, that lighting effect that's created with this shelf. And something else I forgot to mention in the previous video is once you make your form, turn it around, turn it upside down, see what kind of shadows it makes from every angle. If you can get it to stand up, Don't think of it as a predetermined building. It's just a piece of sculpture at this point. And see what kind of effects it has on its own surfaces, on the ground, on the inside. But ideally at this scale, with the amount of materials that we have, your models will probably be in the 6 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches size. So here's my hand for reference. This is 6-inch ruler, so. All right, thank you.